From spectacular debuts
Pretty awesome, pretty awesome.
to sad goodbyes. 2011 is going in the history books as a year full of big events, unusual sights, and inspiring moments.
We're helping animals all over the country.
We are taking a look back at the biggest and most memorable stories of the year.
I know I'm different. I mean, I can't change that. I just gotta move on.
Get ready.
1, 2.
This is a special edition of City Source. Hello and welcome to City Source as we look back at 2011. I'm Thomas Gandy. We have a lot to show you over the next hour. Let's get started with the grand openings. Cheerleaders and drummers welcomed some of the first guests to the Irving Convention Center at Las Colinas. The first big event was State of the City 2011. The copper-clad facility with many environmentally friendly features is already proving to be a boost for business. Coverage from one of the many big events held there is coming up later. Another highly anticipated new facility was the West Irving Library. Here's part of our report from opening day.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The ribbon is cut, and these are the first people inside the West Irving Library.
Welcome to West Library.
For some, it's another big first. What are you looking forward to seeing in here?
Everything, especially for him because he's a first-time library boy.
I'm looking for a library card.
You're looking for a library card?
Yeah.
Both first-timers and library veterans have a lot of new things to discover. They have never seen a library like this before.
There were a few tears behind these glasses when they cut the ribbon and everything. It's so exciting.
The technology is one of the first things to grab the eye. Many people wanted to check out the Microsoft Smart Tables. And these smart boards were used for fun at the grand opening, but they have a serious application too.
It's used just like a regular computer. You can mark on it with your hands. You can type on it just like a regular computer.
It's set up for presentations. If you're giving classes, you'll be able to load those on here, and that way everyone in the room will be able to follow along with you.
There are also traditional computer stations.
These stations are so much more comfortable. The chairs are awesome. I like the smart board. Everything is just so updated and new. It's just exciting.
Over in the children's storytime room, it's not only the kids the room was made for who are looking up. Here's what they see. Characters from stories we all know, etched into glass and lit by multicolored LEDs. What interests you when you look up there?
Oh, just the imagination, the creativity behind it all. And the creativity's the basis of this whole library. It's just fantastic.
Our theme is our world, and it's almost like coming into a museum.
But even with those features, along with the artwork and abundant technology, people should not overlook another big component.
The little one here kept asking me outside, he says, do they have books in here too? And I told him that we did, and he was so excited when we found the children's books.
There are a lot of places to enjoy books, and we saw many doing that, including in the expanded teen area.
I hope it will encourage them to read and get even more comfortable with technology, which they're already pretty comfortable with.
It's just amazing, and compared to the place we were in before, it's not even comparable.
Tracy Bearden moved from this storefront location that the city rented. This new city-owned building comes with many cost-saving features. Much of that will be achieved through these solar panels. On this display in the lobby, every library visitor will be able to see how much power the panels generate.
This was night, and then as the sun rose around 7:30, the usage, it tracks it.
In addition, they are deep underground now, but during the construction, we saw the drilling of geothermal wells now used to heat and cool the building. Grant money paid for many of the green features that give Irving a proud claim. Later that afternoon, kids turned out for the library's first puppet show. It's the first in what will be a series of programs throughout the year.
If it wasn't for the community coming together as a whole, with staff listening to the voice of the customer saying, we want something that is not traditional, let's take this library to the next level, there would not be the result that it is today.
There is so much here, from the children's area to the computer lab to the technology, that I really think you're going to have to come back and see what's here. You're going to have to keep coming, and there's going to be something new you'll find every time you come back to this library.
It's a wonderful resource for Irving. I'm so proud of our city.
Facilities that opened in the past few years are also growing in popularity. The Miracle League Field debuted in 2009, and as City Source reporter Ashley Roberts found, players there continue to find inspiration.
The ball is hit, the batter makes a run for it. First base, second base, third base, home run. These players have hearts of gold.
Never stop living your dream.
And that's the theme of things at this ballpark, a place where miracles come true.
We are truly blessed to have such a wonderful place with such wonderful people.
Gina Hamill is the mother of Andrew Hamill, who loves playing sports. She says he never lets his spina bifida get in the way.
It doesn't faze him. I mean, it's just, he has one of the most outgoing, loving, it's hard to explain. He's full of life.
Andrew, another awesome game as always.
Every year he looks forward to baseball season.
I get to run all around, and there's a playground over there.
The season opener is a joyous time of year for all of these kids. It gives them a chance to shine and reconnect with their peers.
It means like I can come somewhere and be myself. I don't have to be judged by anyone. We're all the same.
Christina Cooper has been playing with the Miracle League for 8 years. Her mom is a coach and has been her biggest fan since the day she was born. Christina arrived 3 months early, very premature.
She tried out for high school because she's in 9th grade, and then, the kids made fun of her. She can't run, she's slow, so this means a whole lot to her.
But here, there are no tryouts, and it's not about winning or losing. The positive atmosphere is what the Irving Miracle League is all about.
You get to know the families. They're the same families who come year after year. So the kids are all friends. When there are things going on, you always have a support system.
When we all come together on Saturdays and Sundays, or whatever day it might be, it's just like a big family, and we all support each other.
Mason Rowe had some big supporters at this game. You might remember him from his ICTN debut at the West Irving Aquatic Center not long ago. Then he had just recently had knee surgery and was in a wheelchair. But now
he walks at home all over the place. He doesn't even use his wheelchair at home. And we came today without his wheelchair.
And he walked like a champ around the entire field.
It brought a little bit of a tear, yeah, but it was wonderful.
Mason says, watch out. It's the new him.
You'll see me walking on the field a lot.
It's a facility the city of Irving built quickly and with pride.
They're doing so many wonderful things, and this is one of them that it just blows me away whenever I look at this every time. I still can't believe it.
And this wonderful league is open to children of all ages and abilities. A chance to turn hardships into miracles, one hug at a time. Ashley Roberts for City Source.
We all remember the weather was not great for Super Bowl 45, but as a host city, Irving saw extra business. Both teams ended up staying in hotels here, and restaurants were busy. City Source reporter Ashley Roberts got special access to show what was done to keep fans and players safe.
Green Bay Packers fans lined up outside of the Omni Hotel in Las Colinas.
Good luck, Packers. We're ready for Green Bay to win this.
Cheering on their beloved team. And they were ready for the big game.
They do have double with the cup holders here as well.
There is number 85 from my hometown, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Woo-hoo. It's all about the gold and green for these fans.
Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go!
Who love seeing their favorite players before the team headed out to play in Super Bowl 45.
Didn't get tickets for the game, but we're just wanting to support and get them going out of town, you know, on their way to have a happy game, fun game, winning game.
Loyal fans gave the Packers support, and loyal law enforcement gave the Packers a safe haven. Irving police officers proudly escorted the team to Cowboy Stadium. But there were many other responsibilities Irving police took care of during the Super Bowl.
We're here just waiting to respond to any incidents that would require crowd control or anything like that.
Sergeant Danny Webb and Irving PD's mobile field force trained for months to be prepared for any incidents that could arise during the big game.
Once we got everybody together, we went through numerous training exercises to practice the drills and formations and the techniques that we would use.
Roughly 46 officers were split up into 2 platoons. This group held down the fort at the training academy, and the others were at the North Station. Each is armed with this bag full of special equipment.
That equipment consists of several things. The main thing to protect the upper body is this outer shell protection for our legs. Each officer also has a camelback, has a helmet with a shield, have gloves to protect our hands. We also have gas masks.
Many important security decisions are also made here at Irving's Emergency Operations Center.
This week we needed a lot of help and assistance from the streets department with the sand trucks. We relayed that information to the people over here, and they made all of that stuff happen.
Weekly conference calls were done here on this screen to communicate with surrounding area EOCs.
We did so much planning on Super Bowl 45. It is run like clockwork, and that's the way it's supposed to be. If you do it right, it's easy.
Behind these doors, confidential security business was happening 24 hours a day. ICTN was given a brief look inside. Irving Police and Fire, alongside state and federal law enforcement officers, were ready to make quick decisions in an emergency situation.
They control all the activity in our city, and they control what our officers do outside of our city.
But the extra security measures didn't stop there. Here at a confidential location, backup dispatchers are on hand for any emergencies that might be thrown their way during the Super Bowl. If the main dispatching station lost power or faced any other communication difficulties, these dispatchers would immediately take over.
Our dispatchers would receive those phone calls, enter it into the computer, and then that would get routed over to, whether it was a police or fire, it would get routed to the police dispatch or a fire dispatch.
For fans, it was a fun, event-filled weekend with the best teams in the NFL staying right here in Irving. But for various city departments, it took months of planning and preparing to keep everyone in Irving safe. The Super Bowl champs even recognized the city's hard work with an autographed helmet. Ashley Roberts for City Source.
Irving police also stay busy with other responsibilities, including keeping drunken drivers off the roads. We went along for one of the department's no refusal weekends and captured some incredible video along the way.
Do you understand what he told you? That
we're a search warrant to get something out of my body?
We've got a search warrant to take your blood, and you can either give it to us or we're going to hold you down and we're going to take it. Which one's it going to be?
The suspect Irving police officers are surrounding clearly did not want to give a blood sample. And keep watching because it's going to get more tense. But this suspect does not have a choice. A judge signed a warrant based on some erratic driving that Irving police officers observed and recorded on the roads. After police say he failed field sobriety tests, they brought him here to the North Station to get a blood sample. It is important because blood evidence is preferred by prosecutors and is strongest in court. Maybe that is why the suspect seemed bent on police not getting it.
Look, hang on.
With the man on the ground, a technician moves in and collects the sample. Officers believe the blood will reveal more than alcohol.
Officer Hover said he found some marijuana in the vehicle. The guy smelled like marijuana.
Back on the streets, Officer Steve Burris is part of a team specifically looking for drunk drivers over this holiday weekend.
Just driving slow and he was riding that right line.
Burris decides to pull him over to find out how much he has been drinking.
A glass. Okay, you know about how big that glass was?
Once out of the truck, the 75-year-old cancer patient also says he took a pain pill around the same time.
You see that red light right there? Okay, I want you to follow that red light with your eyes and your eyes only. Don't move your head. Keep your head perfectly still.
He has a hard time following instructions.
Look right here. You're looking past it. Look right at it for me.
A breath test shows a blood alcohol level of 0.09.
You are legally intoxicated.
Are you serious?
Has a heart attack, yes, sir. Now we'll go to the North Station and we'll do a blood draw.
State grant money pays for the extra manpower needed to pull off these no-refusal weekends that are conducted over holidays when more people are out drinking.
It's been very successful. We've run it for several years now.
The process is streamlined. Data gets entered, a warrant issued, and blood drawn all in one place.
We have a routine down.
The objective is spend more time on the streets, the higher visibility, looking for more impaired drivers, and spend less time at the office or at the jail.
The extra time on the roads pays off.
Okay, now we're on the stripe. Now we're on the shoulder. We're going to conduct a traffic stop on southbound Loop 12 south of 183.
When Burris pulls over this driver, he quickly finds an open beer bottle.
¿Cuántos cervezas?
Sí me tomé como unas 5 cervezas.
5 cervezas?
Officer Burris asks him to do some field sobriety tests, which he appears to fail.
He's off the line there. Missed heel to toe on that second step.
He would not cooperate with efforts to get a breath test.
Sople, no soplando. Trying to get him to provide a preliminary breath test. He would wrap his lips around the tip of it, act like he was blowing, but when I pulled the mouthpiece out, there was obviously no air.
It appears Burris stopped this driver before his weekend plans fully kicked in.
He's ready for a party, is he not?
Instead of a party, he will give a blood sample and spend the night in jail.
As it gets later, you're going to have more people that are going to be impaired.
When police stop this truck, they find it full of underage passengers.
They're all 18, 19, and 20. They've all been drinking. Okay, take a deep breath and blow in here till I tell you to stop. Till it clicks. There you go. You know what the legal limit is in Texas?
Yeah.
What's the legal limit?
Like 1 point something.
No, it's 0.08 is legally intoxicated. You're a 0.173. You're over twice the legal limit.
The 21-year-old driver is suspected of providing the alcohol.
He is refusing a blood test, so we're going to get a search warrant on him. But his passengers are all going to jail for public intoxication or minor in possession and minor in consumption of alcohol.
The arrests add up, making it clear that drunk driving remains a big problem. Police have some advice for sober drivers who share the roads with these people.
Stay at a safe distance, call 911, and notify us of what it is that you see.
Police add that if you do choose to drink, there is a sure way to avoid arrest. Designate a driver.
And the designated driver drinks nothing, no alcoholic beverages. That's not the person that drinks the least amount, it's the person that drinks nothing.
While these no-refusal weekends only happen over holiday weekends, police target drunken drivers year-round.
We're on to them. We can't catch them all, we just try and catch the worst.
The difference that we always want to make is to make sure that, that our city is a safer place to live in, to visit, or drive through.
Some police department employees perform critical duties without ever leaving the Criminal Justice Center. We talked to a dispatcher whose handling of a horrific call led to statewide recognition.
Irving 911.
Well inside Irving's main police station is the Communication Center.
This is the heart of the police department.
Nearly 600,000 calls a year come through here.
Quite a few calls.
While many are routine,
Was the vehicle burglarized?
others are not. Maria Diaz has worked as an Irving police dispatcher for 25 years. One call stands out.
The one that has changed my life.
The details are so disturbing that we are choosing not to play the entire call, but listen to part of the call coming from an apartment on Esther's Road.
Irving 911.
Yeah, I killed my both kids.
I'm sorry?
I killed my both kids. They are died.
I had taken the 911 call, and at first when I took the call, I had a very hard time understanding the person.
The caller's English was not great, but soon Diaz was putting together the tragic details.
You killed your children?
Yeah, I killed them, both of them.
My instincts took over, and I thought, well, I just need to try and be as calm as I can, keep this person calm.
The call lasts more than 10 minutes. In that time, Diaz is able to learn more about the mother's motive.
Why did you do this?
They are autistic. Both are autistic.
Both are what, dear?
Autistic. I don't want my kids to be like that.
They're both autistic?
I want normal kids.
The call itself and the reasoning kind of hit a little too close to home for me.
Diaz has an autistic relative and was thinking of him as she heard this motive.
I don't want my kid to be autistic. I killed both of them.
I was really hoping and praying that, the two children would survive.
I want you to sit down on the sofa and just stay with me, okay?
Okay.
Diaz kept the woman on the phone and learned valuable details that could help prosecutors later, and immediately helped officers who were responding.
She questioned to make sure that there were no weapons. She made sure that officers would be safe. She made sure that she told the caller where to sit and stay and have her sit and be stable until officers arrived.
With the phone in your hand, I want you to walk outside and meet with my officer. But stay on the phone with me.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
Stay right there for me. Stay right there.
Arriving officers discovered that the children did not survive the attack by their mother.
I think that's probably one of the calls that you really hope in avoiding to get.
But her skill in handling the call earned honors from the state. Diaz was named one of the Texas Telecommunicators of the Year.
It's a prestigious honor. There's only 6 in the state of Texas receiving this honor, so we're very proud of her.
Although it is a moment that has earned her praise, Diaz has not gone back to listen to the call.
Hopefully one day, I think I'll be strong enough to where I can actually sit and listen to it. I still hear bits and pieces of it playing over and over in my mind.
Other times, the calls do have happy endings. At the Animal Care campus back in January, cameras captured these pictures of people suspected of stealing a dog named Wiley from the shelter, possibly to be used in a fighting operation. Dispatchers here get updates on cases, so Maria Diaz was ready for this call.
Hey, you know that story that ran on the news last night about the stolen dog? I said, well, yes, I read up on that. And they said, well, I know the people. I know the people, I know where they live.
Diaz used her computer to investigate the name the caller gave, finding a picture from a previous arrest.
And then I went back to that bulletin and I opened it up and I was comparing pictures and I thought, could be, it could be the same.
She alerted detectives on the case who were soon calling back.
Maria, they found the dog and I was just so ecstatic.
In an attempt to fool police, the dog had a new spot on his face, created with hair dye.
I'd have to say they did a really bad job on trying to disguise him.
Wiley's hair would eventually get back to its regular color, and he was rescued by a group in Colorado. The people suspected of stealing him got a trip to the Irving jail.
You never know what you're going to get when you pick up the phone line.
The job of a police dispatcher can be tough, but the city is proud of its team, answering the calls that deliver help in moments of crisis.
It takes a very special person, and Maria's been here with us for 25 years. Her heart and soul is into her job, and she continually performs exceptionally every day she comes to work.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The recovery of that dog we showed you was just one thing we covered at the Animal Care campus in 2011. One of the biggest stories is from May and shows how people there helped as floodwaters rose in other states.
Give him a big smile. There you go.
This golden retriever has something to be happy about. She is getting a new home.
She's going to have a life of luxury, I can assure you.
A luxurious life after a rough couple of days.
We just heard that it was rescued from the floods in Louisiana.
As floodwaters rose along the Mississippi River, the ASPCA rushed to action, working to get animals out of harm's way.
Irving Animal Shelter and DFW Humane Society were the shelter that stepped up and said, we'll take a truckload.
Now we're just waiting.
More than 30 staff members and volunteers turned out to greet that truckload of animals from Louisiana. Many people here wore Mardi Gras beads.
The New Orleans Saints colors just to kind of welcome them.
The wait turned out to be a bit longer than anticipated.
Those poor guys had a flat.
But when the truck finally arrived, everyone moved fast. Crews carried crates of cats and canines inside. Volunteers bathed some of the dogs before putting them in their homes for the night.
The whole operation went so smoothly. We couldn't have asked for anything better.
The next day, it was clear what a big project this would be. The classroom is turned into temporary cat quarters.
I'm just making sure they have food and water and petting on them and giving them some love.
Volunteer Tina Shanahan is spending her vacation helping these animals.
We've got a lot of really great cats here. A lot of them already fixed, declawed.
Some have unusual traits. 2 have only 3 legs.
Oh, they get along just fine. 3-legged with a spare, all of them are.
This one insists on hiding behind newspaper. Then there are the dogs.
We did discover some of the adult dogs, no surprise, were heartworm positive, and we're going to treat all those once we find an adopter.
Inside this room, we saw a mother and her litter of puppies. They are too young for adoption, so they will all go to a foster home for now. Moving the homeless animals to Irving freed up needed space in flooded areas to the east.
The shelters in Louisiana are now clear to take in owners' animals, where owners have had to relocate.
But to get here, all of these animals went through an ordeal.
You know, we have to take into consideration they were vaccinated the same day, traveled for 10 hours.
It was a long trip. I expected them to be a lot more stressed, but the cats were all friendly.
You saw the happy faces out there in the adoption pod. They're just happy to be off that truck, I'm sure.
The good conditions and expanded space here at the shelter may have made it easier for the animals to adjust.
It's not just any home, we're an awesome place.
Neither one of us in our old shelters would have been able to accomplish a task like this. So I think it's really cool to be in this great building, to be able to pull together as a team.
Tell them blondes have more fun.
There you go.
While this dog is the first to get adopted,
1 down, 76 to go.
The shelter and its volunteers are working to get more of these animals into permanent homes by reaching out to rescue groups and posting pictures on the internet.
If you want to cage an animal in your life, you know, we call it, just come on down.
We're working for the greater good. I mean, we're helping animals all over the country.
Say bye.
Along with the work of many volunteers, monetary donations also make a big difference. We learned about the impact of the DFW Humane Society's Guardian Angel Fund. Unlike many dogs, Desert Bob does not seem to mind that he's going to the vet. Maybe he knows it's because the worst is behind him.
This is actually going to be a really good checkup.
A good checkup after a terrible ordeal that started a year ago, when Bob got out of his pen in the town of Desert, Texas. He got into a neighbor's trash.
They tried to shoo Bob away.
But Bob is deaf, so he did not hear the neighbor yelling.
They shot him, and they aimed for his heart.
Desert Bob survived and made it back to his pen, but he never got proper medical care. Eventually, Bob's owner called DFW Humane Society volunteer Marcy Murray.
When I picked up Bob, it was very clearly infected, and he wasn't in very good health.
He has a fairly large caliber bullet in him.
X-rays show how close the bullet is to his heart. In fact, it's so close it cannot be removed.
He had an opening about the diameter of my little finger right here that he'd had for months.
But with the infection treated, Bob's prognosis is great.
But he's ready to go home. He can be adopted.
Yep, he could.
Bob's treatment cost hundreds of dollars, and he is not the only animal at the Humane Society with special needs.
We have a lot of them.
Buford was hit by a car.
He was brought to Irving Animal Services in hopes to find the owner.
When no one came forward, the Humane Society rescued Buford and got him the extensive leg surgery he needed.
And the surgery was about $1,000. This is Camilla, and Camilla was found by Animal Services with her back leg stuck in a fence.
She had her leg amputated. Handsome shows plenty of spunk for a dog with 2 broken legs in a case of abuse.
One vet suggested maybe he was, thrown off a balcony.
Someone shot off one of Spirit's legs. Ishtar was hit by a car. Sadly, there are many similar stories.
Some of the dogs that have the very worst things happen to them, it's almost like they appreciate the opportunity to stay alive and have a home, and they show it.
That's one reason Dr. Burkett donates most of his services.
All the exams that we do, we don't charge them for them. The surgeries that we do for them are done at a substantially reduced cost.
Even so, the costs of specialists and prescriptions can run up quickly.
They still have the antibiotics, which are very expensive. There's no insurance to cover that. If we go into surgery, we still have the anesthesia costs. Heartworm treatment itself is a very expensive thing.
That's where the Humane Society's Guardian Angel Fund comes in. Donations are helping Desert Bob and others.
When we have a case like this, we have a very good adoptable dog that hasn't had a chance. It's worth it for us to put some money into it and give this dog a second chance.
The Humane Society's website is the place to donate and keep up with the latest Angel Fund cases. Some dogs shown here are still in need of donations to pay for surgeries. Desert Bob is fully recovered from his ordeal.
He lived for a complete year with this injury, and when I came out there, he wagged his tail, he looked at me, he was happy to see me, he's still wagging his tail.
There are a lot of happy endings. The dogs we showed you earlier have all been adopted into good, loving homes.
Don't get that thing. Good girl.
Lucy is enjoying the good life at the home of Irving police officer Brian Crum.
She was hit by a car, and it really just shattered her leg pretty bad.
She lost her leg, but Lucy still fits in well with the other dogs and even a rescued donkey at Crum's home outside the city.
She is as fit and as healthy and as active as a dog with 4 legs.
Now he is looking at having Lucy trained as a therapy dog to work with injured veterans.
Maybe as a little inspiration that, you know, this hasn't hampered her. You ready? Get it. This hasn't hampered her a bit.
A happy dog given a chance because donors paid for her leg surgery.
I can't say enough about people that donate to the Angel Fund. I mean, you're saving this animal's life.
Good girl. Woo! Now to one of our most popular animal stories of the year, wild pigs in Irving and the efforts to get rid of them.
The first damage that was done was kind of over in this area.
The LaVales woke up one morning to find their lawn torn up with holes up to 10 inches deep.
It was like a mini bulldozer. I couldn't believe it.
And it appeared that there had been some vandalism.
Irving police responded, then animal control. An officer found this hoof print that confirmed it was not vandals who were to blame.
It was, in fact, hogs.
Okay, so y'all live in the middle of one of the biggest metropolitan areas in the country, and you find out you have wild hogs in your neighborhood.
Well, it's the last thing you'd think would damage your yard.
The hogs came back 2 more times.
This is the area up there by the house. That was the 3rd time that they hit. They had gone so deep that they had destroyed an area of the sprinkler system.
Irving Animal Services started investigating. This is some of the first video officers captured in October. They were surprised by what they saw. Huge, mature pigs and many newborns running wild.
We did an assessment. That's where we discovered, hey, we don't only have 10 pigs. We recognized the magnitude of the problem, so we stepped up our capture techniques.
Wild pigs have been living here along the Trinity River for as long as anyone can remember. So what made them just recently start charging into neighborhoods? Overpopulation may be one reason. Another may be the weather. After storms last fall, the river level rose and the pigs sought higher ground.
That's our theory, and then when the river receded and it got good in there, they didn't want to give up their new hunting grounds.
So Animal Services set up small traps on land near the river. Baited with corn, they can work well to capture smaller pigs like these. But the bigger hogs,
they just move the traps around to get to the corn, you know? They're that smart, just shove it around.
Animal Services needed a bigger trap. Crews built this one.
This is our main, our permanent hog trap where you catch multiple ones at a time. And it's triggered off of some cables that we have inside there. So they go in to eat some corn and hit with a cable and it shuts the door behind them there.
This trap has captured more than 20 pigs at a time. The traps are necessary because
they have no natural predators. Only the little bittiest ones, the little small ones, can be prey for coyotes. And once the pig gets above 30 pounds, there's nothing gonna prey on them, nothing gonna eat them.
Look at what we saw when we checked out the trap a couple of weeks ago.
This weigh-in is the biggest one we've caught to date.
This boar was later weighed and came in at 329 pounds.
So he might be the granddaddy of what's been happening. He's used to ruling the roost.
Even though he made it in the trap, it proved to be a challenge to get him out. The animals are generally afraid of humans, so we moved around the trap to drive him toward the trailer.
It's not an exact science. Hip, hip.
Irving Animal Services has gotten offers from hunters to help control the pig population, but hunting is illegal in the city. After some prodding, this boar heads for the trailer.
Get the gate, Ryan, get the gate.
This boar and the other wild pigs captured in the city are sent to a meat processing plant following state guidelines.
The recommended procedure is that the animals be euthanized or destroyed.
And if we do not do more to mitigate the number of hogs in this state, we will have a continual growing problem.
The state of Texas says feral hogs cause about $400 million in damage each year.
There are very few counties in the state that do not have some form of remnant of hog populations, and where hogs occur, damage occurs.
Researchers say the animals can contribute to the spread of E. coli and are predators of valuable species. So the state launched a campaign to get rid of them.
The goal is, if we will do this statewide on a targeted, time-specific basis, there'll be no place for them to hide, and we really can get the hog out of Texas.
In fact, far out of Texas. Some of the meat is exported to Europe. Money raised from selling it is donated to the city's Animal Assistance Fund. That money helps pay for surgery that can save the lives of sick dogs and cats and help pet owners who are struggling.
It could be we offer some Irving residents, we'll help spay your animals, or treat your heartworm.
Irving Animal Services has captured about 200 feral pigs so far.
Since we first started, we've really improved our technique.
Even so, officers know there are still many more out there, angry and stubborn. They will continue to set out traps.
It'll be something that you do the rest of your career. They do breed really well, and they have a high survival rate in the young. They have a very nice amount of water in the Trinity River coming through.
The city's response has been proactive from the very beginning.
As their grass begins to grow back, the LaVales can see the difference Animal Services is making.
I think they have the upper hand.
They do.
Yeah.
The LaVales haven't seen a pig on their lawn in about 2 months.
We still have a propensity to check. Just about every night. If I'm going down the hall or something, I'll look out to see if, have we been visited again?
They repaired some costly damage, but now have a sense of humor about their encounter with wild hogs.
I mean, if I could only have an armadillo or a possum now, I would be so thankful.
That report first aired on City Source in January of 2011. We will be following up on the pig problem in the coming weeks right here on our show. An Irving firefighter accomplished something most of us never will, working 56 years for the same employer. Captain Shaky Holder retired in September, and we were there as people paid tribute.
This is really it, guys.
The moment some thought they would never see is here. It's Captain Shaky Holder's final day at work.
There's a little bit of junk in it.
After 56 years with the Irving Fire Department, it's time for him to clean out his locker.
Ain't no telling what I'll find in there.
Among the items he found, his pen celebrating 25 years with the city.
25-year pen.
It's been in that locker 32 years.
Along with a newspaper article from 1972.
A fire destroys Bowie Junior High.
The man who witnessed so much city history also made history. Holder is believed to be the longest-serving active-duty firefighter in the nation. On his final day, fellow firefighters and neighbors stopped by Station 1 to say goodbye.
She's been coming down here 40 years. Look at this, popcorn.
Over the decades, it is clear that he has touched generations of Irving residents.
When she come down here to see me, she was that big. And now she come down here to show me how big her daughter is. It has been a great time.
Later that afternoon, Captain Holder's official retirement celebration drew hundreds to the studios at Las Colinas.
You can't believe this many people just showed up to see you get fired.
Far from fired, Holder is going out in a blaze of glory.
If I was to think about anything that I was really leaving, I'd probably tears be in my eyes right now.
Irving residents shared their encounters with Shaky, how he made a difference when it mattered the most.
I want to tell you something. Said you saved two beautiful children.
Shaky saved your life.
Yes, he did.
Diane Lips was only 2 years old, but later learned it was Holder who pulled her from her carbon monoxide-filled home.
He's just touched so many lives, and, you know, I'm just blessed to be one of them.
Tributes also came from colleagues, past and present.
Some of you younger firemen need to study the example that Shaky has set.
Shaky's like my second dad. I hired on almost 25 years ago. He was my first captain.
He's just devoted to the city of Irving and the citizens of Irving.
He's got that calming effect. He's got that confidence that comes with experience. He's got that easygoing attitude.
He was not always so easygoing. Back in 1955, around the time this film was shot, there wasn't much training. Robbie Robinson started the same day as Holder.
He said, show up to work that day, and they said, put your gear on that truck over there, and if it goes out, you better go with it. That's all the training we had.
What he lacked in experience, he made up for with enthusiasm.
Every time the bell would go off, Shaky would be over on the other side of the table, and he'd crawl plumb over the table trying to get out of there, you know.
Row, row.
Well, as you see, his nerves that earned him the nickname of Shaky would eventually calm. His enthusiasm never left.
He has a passion. He reminds me of a rookie because he is so excited to come to work every day.
There'll never be another Shaky Holder.
While Captain Holder will leave the department with many mementos,
My grandchildren better watch out.
he is also leaving something behind. His boots will be on display at the Fire Administration Building, and of course stories will be shared for years to come. What's next for you? What are you going to be doing tomorrow and next week?
I have no earthly idea. I might go home and spend a couple of days with my trophy wife. And
But she sees his dedication to the fire service.
I know I come second. I know.
So no one would be surprised to see Captain Holder back inside an Irving fire station for a visit.
His love for the firehouse will keep him visiting all the stations, and you know what? He is a legacy across the entire nation.
A legacy that will last long after this final bell rings.
is this it? Bring this. I hadn't got a job.
It's a big loss for the fire department. It'll forever be changed, but his memory will live on forever.
Great guy. I'm going to miss him.
Shaky Holder is now looking at writing his memoirs and having them published. More memorable stories are coming up, including Irving's mayor on the racetrack. But first, our special 2011 Web Watch, our most popular videos online for the entire year. Meetings surged in viewership this year. The city council members looked at issues including the entertainment venue, Heritage Crossing, and others. And it is clear that there is still a lot of nostalgia for Texas Stadium. Some of our 2010 reports leading up to the implosion drew thousands more views in 2011. We invited Dallas Cowboys superfan Moses Mendoza to be one of the last people to get a look inside Texas Stadium.
Dang.
And our animal stories always get attention. One showing how social networking is being used to increase adoptions was our most popular pet story on YouTube in 2011. If you missed any of those stories or just want to watch them again, you can find links to our ICTN On Demand site and our live streaming 24/7 coverage by visiting ICTN.tv. More than 400 videos are now available on our YouTube site, youtube.com/The City of Irving. Hit the subscribe button and you can get notified when we add new videos. You can also find our reports on iTunes. Search for ICTN to download stories and shows to your iPod or iPhone to watch on the go. One more note before we get back to some of our favorite stories of the year. Your Christmas tree does not have to take up space in the landfill. The City of Irving is collecting trees for recycling. They will be ground into mulch that will be available for residents to use in landscaping projects. Before putting a tree out for recycling, make sure all decorations, stands, and bags are removed. You could leave it curbside for pickup through January 9th or drop it off by January 8th at Cottonwood Creek Park, Southwest Park, the Drop-Off Recycling Center at 8555 Home Depot Drive, or the City Landfill at 220 West Hunter Farrell Road. The Irving Convention Center at Las Colinas is about to mark a year of operation. Thousands of people have attended events there, and we were at all of the biggest. Here's our coverage of Star Wars Fan Days. The lines seemed to span the galaxy.
We all decided we must come.
Or at least the distance of the uniquely designed Irving Convention Center.
We decided that it looks kind of like one of those modules that they landed on the moon and it's just about to take off.
It's Star Wars Fan Days.
Clearly I am a fan of the Star Wars.
We hope to see Billy D. Williams and George Takei.
I am very excited.
Josh Gray spent 4.5 months getting his costume ready for this event.
It's Mandalorian armor, custom made.
David Furr bought his.
$600 later, I've got a neat Darth Vader costume.
Some here traveled a long way.
Where are you guys from?
Jefferson City, Missouri.
They all cannot wait to get inside.
This place is amazing.
Oh, I'm in here to buy some toys and get some autographs.
Inside, the exhibit hall is packed with vendors offering comic books, collectibles, and toys.
That's cool.
Although Star Wars is the focus, many fans can find something interesting here.
We're into Star Trek. We rehome tribbles for just $20.
It covers sci-fi, it covers comic books, Star Wars, Star Trek, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, just about anything that falls into the realm of geek.
A lot of the folks we talk to are not shy about calling themselves geeks or nerds. They appreciate the opportunity.
Just being with our own people, geeking out over our different interests.
And we've got a really great crowd of people here today.
Fan Days co-organizer Mark Walters brought this event to the Irving Convention Center after having a lot of success when he moved Dallas Comic Con here earlier this year.
I think this is the smartest move we ever made.
Definitely my most profitable con that I've worked. Pretty nice. Bigger, much bigger here in this convention center, much nicer than the Plano Convention Center. It's a lot bigger than where they've had the Fan Days the last 4 or 5 years.
We love having him here. This is great. I mean, look at all sorts of people, all ages, people from all over every planet, apparently.
It's nice to be in a place like this that is impressive in its own right, and it's even nicer to be in a city like this where we get treated so well. And I think the fans respect it too. I think it's all kind of coming back around. Everybody just loves the vibe of it.
The building even caught the attention of one of the celebrity guests.
Today, I walked George Takei in here, and he even commented on it. He says, "Is this brand new? Because this looks brand new." And I said, "Oh yeah, they just finished in January." And he said, "This is a really impressive structure."
People also lined up for autographs from comic book artists and the actor who played Chewbacca. They posed for pictures with a number of characters roaming the building. Our crew even spotted R2-D2. These fans bring a lot of money with them.
A wallet full of cash.
And the spending does not stop inside this building.
We know it's good for our hotels.
So the convention center is ready to welcome these fans back, and they seem ready to return for another sequel.
The city of Irving really has been incredibly welcoming.
More Fan Days events are planned for 2012 at the convention center. The championships for a growing sport are held right here in Irving, and the stories of the athletes who play are inspiring. They say what happens on the court has opened up new opportunities for them. Here's Ashley Roberts.
This wheel looks like it has taken a beating. And it has. It's a quad rugby wheelchair made for full contact and tough competition.
Everyone's dealt with something, and they're out here just saying, hey, I'm the same as everybody else. I'm going to be an athlete. I can do whatever I want.
Rise Adventure's third annual quad rugby tournament at Irving's Center Park Rec Center brought out many competitive and positive players, like Diego Barragan, who was born without legs.
Through the years, I was like, I know I'm different. I mean, I can't change that. I just gotta move on.
Spencer Larimore is a former news photographer who tells a different story.
I was mountain biking, went off a jump, went over the handlebars and broke my C6 vertebrae, left me in quadriplegic.
But he says getting involved with sports like quad rugby has kept him active and optimistic.
You know, if you can kind of get through that dark spot of looking back at your old life and moving forward once you get through that. It's
Rise Adventures has given Larimore and many others the opportunity to stay active for free.
We also have hunting, fishing, camping, hand cycling, which is a great sport for to keep the cardio going. We have a sailing program where you can teach anybody with no arms and no legs how to sail their own sailboat.
Rise Adventures has a strong relationship with the city of Irving, and they hope to soon build a new recreational facility right here in the community.
Rise attracts athletes with disabilities from all over the U.S., bringing many visitors to the area. James Gumbert is the United States Quad Rugby Association Commissioner and says Irving has embraced the sport.
That says a lot about the city and how they look at sport and look at people with disabilities, and it's really unique to find that in the United States. I mean, we travel all over the world, and we don't get this kind of reception all the time.
He, too, is in a wheelchair. It was nearly 30 years ago on Christmas night when he broke his neck in a car accident.
What this sport has done for us, it's given us confidence. It's given us, parts of the life that we had before back.
He tries to inspire and bring out the best in these athletes. From the outside looking in, it's hard to tell who is struggling with adversity. Many seem happy and resilient.
I thought my life as it was over, but realizing that really it just kind of shifted it in another direction.
It seems most of these warriors on wheels have found solace through the power of sports.
When you accomplish something you never thought you could do, or you go somewhere that you never thought you could do, puts a big smile on your face and lets you know that, hey, I can handle this. Life's okay.
All of our programs are free. We provide all the equipment.
Tournament director Mike Peters and Coach Gumbert hope this annual event will attract more community involvement and disabled sport fans. They believe the experience would change how a person looks at life forever. Ashley Roberts for City Source.
Now to another competition. Irving elected a new mayor in 2011, but that was not the only mayor's race we covered. One took us to the Texas Motor Speedway. It's the showdown at Texas Motor Speedway that follows showdowns at the ballot box. The mayors of Irving and Fort Worth
who are here to drag race against each other.
The cause that brought them here is a serious one.
This is about stopping illegal street racing.
More on that in a minute, but we know you're ready to see racing. Both drivers are confident.
Oh, we're going to win.
Let's compare them. Fort Worth Mayor Betsy Price is starting her first term. She's a former tax assessor and claims the home field advantage.
This is Fort Worth's home turf, so we're going to win.
Irving Mayor Beth Van Dyne is also in her first term. For this former councilwoman, it may come down to experience.
Have you had any drag racing experience before?
Our police are going to be watching this, so I've never had any kind of drag racing experience.
None you want to admit in public?
Yeah, there, thank you very much.
From what I have heard, she's not shy. She'll run someone off the road, from what I understand.
That is where I'm going to beat the mayor of Fort Worth on her own track.
A trophy and bragging rights are not all that are on the line here.
When we win, she's going to furnish Texas Stadium seats out of the old stadium from Irving for all 9 council members.
And when we win, she's going to provide
Charlie Garrett's Railhead
dinner for all 9 of our council members.
With the stakes made clear, the drivers get their helmets on and get in position. To make it fair, sponsor Scion provided identical cars. We have a camera inside that will help cover the action for this best 2 out of 3 match.
You're driving the same cars, you're equal. It's all in the driver. All in the driver.
Van Dyne is in lane 2 and Price in lane 1.
Lane 1, are you ready? Lane 2, are you ready? 1, 2. Irving wins round 1.
The drivers get back in position because the second heat is getting underway. Fort Worth wins that one, tying it up. Before we get to the deciding race, A closer look at why they are here. They are bringing attention to a summer program here at the Texas Motor Speedway called Friday Night Drags, a weekly event that opens up the track for anyone who has the need for speed.
People enjoy doing it. They want to be able to take their cars and rev them up and then have someplace safe and supervised to be able to race them, and this provides them a great opportunity.
To try to get more kids out here to race their cars or to show and shine, to encourage them to come here rather than race illegally in their neighborhoods, because that's not safe.
And they were also talking about 10% of all of the fatalities and injured drivers come from the state of Texas. So it is a really big problem.
That's a big number. So we're jumping on board to try to curtail this.
The Speedway converts its pit road into an 1/8 of a mile drag strip.
How exciting is that to be able to race down pit row where the legends of NASCAR and Indy drive?
Back at the mayor's race, it is Van Dyne and Price getting that thrill. The pressure is on. Whoever wins this final heat will win the match.
One, you ready? Two, you ready? 1, 2. Irving wins it by 1.
Yes!
Here. Irving, Mayor.
Yes!
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You bet.
It was fun. I didn't get the outcome I wanted, but we got to let our guests to the east win.
She really was tough competition. Most people who know me, I typically go pretty strong, and I got to give her credit.
Their friendly bet is settled.
All right, we owe y'all dinner.
They brought attention to their cause.
This is a much safer environment.
And Irving gets a new trophy.
I'm really proud that we get to bring this home to the city of Irving.
You could see many fun stories in 2011, and 2012 promises more fun and more important information. On the next City Source, we go in depth to show you what Irving's emergency responders are doing to prepare themselves for an event they hope never happens: tragedy at the convention center. Don't forget, you can get previews of upcoming shows, learn about other city events, and even interact with us. Follow the City of Irving on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with the latest. That's it for this edition of City Source. Thanks to everyone who was a part of this one, and thank you for watching. We'll see you with more news in 2012.